Hey Exile, PoE Academy here with the learnings me and my friend made in roughly 250 fully charged T16 Crucible encounters. In this video you will learn everything about our basic setup, our atlas tree, how the strategy turned out, and also how we approach these encounters. Okay, so a very big problem is that the Crucible encounters themselves don't drop any loot, which is why we're trying to make use of the currency and the upgrade to unique item passive nodes that can spawn on the items. To prepare for this, we added the champion kite shields and siege axes to our loot filter, because they can only turn in Aegis Aurora and Soul Taker respectively. Yesterday they were between 2 and 3 div each, but if you're watching this video in the future, you might want to check other bases as well, because, you know, prices can change. Last but not least, we also set up an all-can-go mapping strat to cycle the items as quickly as possible through the Crucibles to discover the desired nodes. This strategy mainly consisted of running city squares and toxic sewers. Why? Because they have very efficient and easy to read layouts and also are right next to each other in the atlas tree, and you can take advantage of the chance for one monster in each of your maps to drop an additional connected map node on the passive tree. If you're now also taking the singular focus keystone on the atlas passive tree, you ensure that only these two maps can drop, and with a 92% chance to drop an additional connected map, this is almost guaranteed. Another nice pair of maps is the Promenade and the Airtour map, because you get a lot of quant from the small increase modify effect nodes and the small quant nodes, which means that you have a decent chance to drop a nurse divination card in the Promenade map. From time to time we also bought Conqueror maps in bulk, and really any one of them is profitable, but they are even better because you can oversustain so much that you can sell your maps in bulk. Alright, so let's look at how this turned out in the end. We were able to charge a full T4 keystone in roughly 8 maps. Now, you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound too good, and yeah, it isn't, because usually you only get a node where you get another 20C when you sell the item, which is not a lot, right? And this doesn't include the time you need to spend to find a decent mod on an item. I think on average it was 5 to 10 items before we hit something decent. However, we found that the geodes deliver quite a lot of value. You always want to identify them and pray for decent modifiers, and they usually sell for at least the geode price, so you always want to identify them. Sometimes you receive them by selling the item, but often enough they also just simply drop from the encounter. Most of the maps coming from the geodes sell somewhere between 10 to 60C, which was the majority of our profits. In all of our runs we got the cells as a unique item mod once, and also the item cells for free divines once. When we got the cell as a unique item modifier, we didn't know that we could split the items, because when you split it, it keeps the tree and also the XP of the tree. We've only discovered this with the item cells for free divines. We pushed it to T4, split it, and made 5.5 divines in total, because the beast was half a divine back then. We also sold some maps in bulk and conqueror fragments, and all in all we were making 3 to 4 divines per hour. It's decent, yes, but if you look at the power level of our characters, it's definitely not, and here's why. I'm playing a Spark carry build together with a Cyan Aura bot, and together we hit roughly 26 million DPS. Our Sparks actually hit so hard that we can freeze all the bosses in the game, so we don't have to fear their damage. If we weren't able to freeze these for whatever reason, we were simply dead, although we had a ridiculous amount of maximum resistances, armor, and also evasion. I think something is wrong here when you already have unethical characters that can easily destroy any rare invitation, however struggles to complete these encounters. There are two types of monsters which are particularly dangerous. First is the long-legged spiders that can also spawn as rare and magic monsters. They have crazy damage and simply one-shot you if you can't freeze them. And there's also the Kitava type boss, which is insanely fast and can jump at you from outside your vision. Now GGG is probably going to solve this in the near future, but until then you have to make sure that you don't channel the meter too high, or otherwise you will simply die to the minions. All in all, I think this is a very interesting league for crafting, however it doesn't feel very good at this point. I hope you've learned something today. Happy hunting, Exile, and see you in the next one.